I'll get involved. You just get short.
Oh, I don't show up. I gotta be invited. I don't want to crash the party because you guys talk about it.
It's
You going? Yeah.
It's 7.
Don't invite us.
We're going, please rise. Join me in the pledge of allegiance to the flag. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. Meeting of the Wahoo City Council, Tuesday, October 8th, 7 o'clock p.m. Open meeting act is posted on the wall. I'll call the meeting to order and ask for roll call.
Stuart Krejci.
Here.
James Sweet.
Here.
Carl Warford.
Here.
Ryan Diaz.
Here.
Chris Raffle.
Here.
Patrick Nick.
Here.
No proclamations, so anybody in the audience that has any comments on not on the agenda, it's time for you. You recognize, Ryan?
Just wanted to know what the progress is on everything,
Okay.
since we haven't seen any letters or anything.
I have the document prepared by Joe, and I just need to get those out to you so that you get your permission and can get something going.
Okay.
Just had a lot on my
Or egress?
on my plate.
Okay. 'Cause we,
And I think one of the first things, Brian, that probably needs to be discussed is, so the way I drafted the document was kind of a general right-of-way construction easement, right? One of the operative questions is what additional ingress egress will you need to get equipment down to that area? So to me, the first fundamental question is, can they get through on the east side, or does it have to be on the west side? I think once you answer, does that easement need to include some lot allowing heavy equipment to come through their lot? Hopefully not, but if it does, then I think you can figure out, is it just the boundary, your rear boundaries? I would hope that that's what it will be, but I think that's the big question that needs to be answered, is somebody on the east side gonna give the city access?
Were you guys able to get a hold of those new owners at all?
I don't believe there's been any attempts to do so as of yet. I drafted the document, but my timing was terrible because it was right before budgeting and everything else, so I think that it's not a good time to be giving city staff another thing to do.
okay. We're just kind of wondering because
Yeah.
it's dry right now,
Right?
Yeah.
you know, so that's a good thing. It'll be
More
good.
rain, but not there.
Yeah.
So it'd be good to get that going if we can, you know.
So probably later part of the week, maybe or next week, the letter will out.
I'll try.
Well, no, I'm just asking.
Yeah,
Okay,
hopefully.
Okay. Thank you.
yeah. Anybody else in the audience who want to talk about something that's not on the agenda? No? Okay, we will move forward. Department head report.
So it has been a little bit since I've provided you with a report. Just real briefly, in September and then again in October, I attended the League Small Cities Legislative Committee meeting. And this is an area where representatives from various communities across the state come together and we talk about any potential legislative amendments, bill amendments that we want to work, that the league wants to work to get introduced on behalf of cities, or this one we actually spent a lot of time talking about strategies and ways that we can help just across the state tell our story to legislators about the power and the impacts of local option sales tax. Some of the concerns we have with the LB 34 that was passed. So that's something that I've been getting involved in because I think if you look at all of the things that have been accomplished in Wahoo with local option sales tax, I mean, legislators say, ask the people. Well, we've asked the people and they said they want these things and that's what we're doing with it, right? So as I've said to you before, there's been some conversations about maybe taking a chunk of that if legislature would decide to expand the sales tax base. And so we've been spending a lot of time talking about how to not argue that, but, you know, be our own advocate and tell the story about what we're doing with those funds, so. I also attended the league annual meeting, and I think Stuart, you called about league membership and what exactly that means, and I did include some information in the agenda item under the consent agenda. But these league meetings, what the annual meeting, the midwinter conference, the clerks meeting, the Nebraska City Managers, the finance school, all those things are things that the league helps put together to provide training opportunities not only for staff but also for elected officials. So I know that it's hard to carve out time to attend those sessions, but there's lots of information that's provided, and there's opportunity for networking also. And sometimes the solution to the problem that we're having is discovered just by visiting with people down the road, because oftentimes we are facing many of the same issues. So I know it's hard to carve it out, but if you can, that would be great. The next one will be in February, in the last week of February. You can get those dates out to you if you're interested. North Highlands, Phase 2, the paving is underway. Then once the paving is complete, then they'll work on the storm sewer inlets, and that'll be wrapped up. Ryan had a downtown water main project update today. I didn't follow up with him on that, but I think things are progressing. There's always a few hiccups here and there, but they seem to be pretty responsive when there's been some issues.
When is the completion date of that projected?
Like May, June of 25, so.
Figure around 300 days.
I've been asked a couple times for people on that.
I didn't put it on here, but the roundabout project, if you've driven through that in the last couple of days, they've switched the eastbound traffic to the south side of the project. So they're working in the middle, and I noticed that they had for westbound traffic 15 miles an hour, so I hope folks are slowing down, and because there's people that are literally working right along the edge of the road, because they're working in between the south part that was paved and then
There's a guy out there with the sign that says
slow, yeah.
Now, I guess the question on that is the old highway able to access through there yet, or is that still closed?
I think it's still closed, at least it was today when I went through there.
I just didn't know, because I know they had all that paved also connected to the south side. I didn't know if they're gonna open that sooner than later.
all the way connected to the south side yet.
I think the paving is done, but I think there's some storm sewer inlets that have to be built, because I think in that
Okay,
entire
yeah, I guess,
project,
because that's a single lane down there instead of 2 lanes.
that's, the entire project has like 26 storm sewer inlets in it, so.
Wow.
I was interviewed today by Channel 1011 reporter, because I don't know, the state must have put out something that said part of the roundabout is open, and they wanted to know the impacts of that. So I shared my opinions, and then Grant was also in, and it was really more about, you know, there's a lot of people that are on the fence about roundabouts, but I think from a safety perspective, it's going to make a huge impact for community. Things that are going on, auditors will be here to complete their field work November 20th, 21st, and 26th. And we're working on getting their necessary documents and reports. I'm going to skip that next one. I'll come back to it. I've been invited to be a participant on a panel discussion that's hosted by the Nebraska Chamber of Commerce Foundation. They're hosting an educational opportunity entitled Road to Property Tax Reform. It's a 2-part series. The first part is in person, be this Thursday at Southeast. And then I'm going to be participating virtually on the 23rd, along with Lynn Rex from the league, as well as a couple representatives from the county, just talking about, again, sales tax and property tax in municipalities. I've been working on our the disaster declaration that was made for the area from the May 21st storms, as well as some other storm events. We had an exploratory call, they call it, on October 1st, and then we'll have an in-person project scoping meeting on the 24th. And again, this is only for public assistance projects. Public assistance in FEMA's terms means public infrastructure projects like roads, streets, trails, ball fields, those kinds of things. So we don't have a lot of work that we have do, but we have to go through the process. Then on the cemetery, as you previously approved, we did some tweaking to our policies and we implemented it's always been in our policies that in the spring and the fall, we do a cleanup of the cemetery. We made a couple of changes to those policies and the staff is implementing them by doing a clean sweep at the cemetery, and I'm guessing you may have heard some people not be very happy about what's been happening out there. If you haven't, you may. There's really two issues. The first is that, and I will take full responsibility for it, we didn't put together a great communication plan for implementing this, and that has caused some issues with folks. We should have done a much better job of that, and we're talking about things that we can do to put in place in the spring when we do that. The second is with every one of these individuals that have called in, we've been able to have some conversations about what we're doing and why we're doing it in an effort to clean up the cemetery a little bit and bring it up to a little bit higher standard. And Joe has said the majority of those conversations have been positive. So I would just ask that if you do get a phone call, if you would have them call City Hall, we'll take down their information. We'll give that on a complaint form or an issue form that we have, and then we'll send that on to Joe. And Joe has been making individual calls to the people. So instead of giving Joe's number directly for them to call, we just want to make sure it comes to City Hall so we can document it and get him the information, because then the reverse happens. Once he's had the conversation, he follows up, replies on the form, and we have it in our system then, so we have an accurate record of the conversations.
So what scale, how many phone calls, 20, 40?
I think we've had probably 10.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Is that a fair number? Yeah,
That's pretty fair.
I've had 2.
Okay, any other questions?
Well, I guess it's more of a question, I don't know if you know, but at Fifth and Beach, there's a fire hydrant that's bad, that's in front of the curb. Is that staying there, or what's going on with that fire hydrant? Why is it?
Fifth and Beach,
Yeah, why is the fire hydrant in the street and not behind the curb?
I'm guessing it's,
They did some work in that area.
it
It's
may be,
just a test hydrant.
Okay.
okay.
It still doesn't make sense why you put a test hydrant in the street. If somebody doesn't see it at night, it's bagged with a black bag. So if somebody turning doesn't see it, hits it, it's just a,
Yeah, I'll make a note and have Ryan take a look at it in the morning.
put some more barricades around it. And I know this weekend it was pretty windy and a lot of barricades were down. I don't know. And obviously K2's not here working over the weekends. But is there somebody that could call them
Sure.
if there's barricades?
No, and just-
If there's barricades down, who do I call? Could I call you to let Ryan know that they can call K2 and say, all your barricades are down on Saturday from the wind? And if they could have somebody pick them up for safety, because it's protecting holes that are on the ground.
Right, I understand.
I just saw that and I was like, kind of like, oh, that's not staying there. Hopefully somebody knows about that. I just look for safety on my jobs in Omaha, so I look for safety on stuff here too. That was my other question.
So moving on to the consent agenda, I just want to point out, if you click on that approval of the league membership and the summary of the membership. So I put this together, I pulled all of this information off of the League of Nebraska Municipalities website, and so the specific benefits that we get from membership include, and it's primarily is the league and lobbying for municipalities. That's really the only lobbying organization that we're allowed to participate in, other than it's something that's locally for our district. You get the copy of the municipal review, the legislative bulletins. If you don't get those and you want to get them, let me know. I can sure get you added to the list. If you scroll on down to the membership list, I just want to make sure that you all understand that's good, that as elected officials, whether you're a council member or a mayor, and if you have an interest in serving on the league exec board, I would encourage you to throw your name in the hat. And I think that they would like to see some participation maybe in some of the league meetings, but it really is a great opportunity. I got to be the clerk's representative on this board for 3 years a while back, and you really understand the power of having good relationship with legislature, with legislative staff and all of those. It's a good opportunity, so I just wanted to point that out, that the board is made up of an equal part of first class cities and then second class cities and villages, so there's an opportunity. I don't know, Stuart, do you have any other questions?
No, that's exactly what I wanted to read, because I know it contributes, it helps us a lot. I just couldn't quantify it from what you gave us today, so this helps.
Okay. Move on to the consent agenda. Any questions there?
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second that.
Okay. Been a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Any comments? Roll call, please.
Grady,
Yes.
Rappel,
Yes.
Sweet,
Yes.
Warford,
Yes.
Nagel,
Yes.
Ideas.
Yes.
Okay, we have a couple, public hearings. The first one, public hearing on the final replat of subdivision known as Destiny Campus. A replat of Lot 2 Colony subdivision, replat of lots 1 and 2 and 6 of Kennedy College subdivision, and the east half at vacated Oak Street lying north of the north boundary line of 13th Street, contiguous with the Lot 2 Colony subdivision replat. This has been on, and we've been, I say, looking forward to this transaction. First of all, I'm going to have Travis explain in his terms what we're doing. And then at that point, I'm going to ask the developer or Pastor Vern or whoever to speak on their behalf. And then we will go back for council comments. And then all that will be part of the public hearing. So, and then after that, then it'll be up to the council to ask public or developer, or I think probably the only one here is the developer. Okay.
So yeah, the final plat basically, quite some time ago, I can't remember exactly when, but the planning commission did look at this. We had a waiver of the separate submittals, for the preliminary. We went directly to the final plat. So the planning commission did get a chance to look at this. Basically, this is combining, the lower part that used to be kind of the track area of the campus, around the Colony House area, with the gymnasium as well as the green area and the East Hall, combining all that together as one parcel. So that's a replat of that. Planning Commission recommended approval of that. Not a whole lot more than that. Obviously, we've got an easement that was across there for the ingress and egress of Colony housing, that Colony subdivision right there. And then this will help also get rid of the non-conformity of the gymnasium. If you recall, we had an issue with the rear property line for setback purposes. So that'll help with that.
Where's the gymnasium on that map?
Right in the middle.
Oh, I got you.
Yep, so that'll be all combined, and then, so the parking is going to be in that lower part around the Colony subdivision area, all through there, which is on the agenda here next, I think, for the parking plan approval. But this will allow them, when they complete the gymnasium and then future doing East Hall renovations, they can also utilize that parking count for that and those improvements that are necessary. But basically, this is kind of a cleanup of all those extra boundaries, and this will also help with not needing an easement for the same owner for the sewer for the gymnasium, because it doesn't go across that property, runs over to Sycamore.
So the planning commission did see this a while ago.
Was it back in June, April? Oh, it was last year.
For the final plat,
Okay, final plat
for
was,
the parking plan, that was July.
okay, so the final plat was actually last year, yes, and then,
So what needed to happen in the last year and a half to get it to tonight?
so we were just kind of waiting to get here to city council, we needed all the pieces together, under,
With the parking plan, or that stuff?
yeah, parking plan, gymnasium plan, everything else needs to be together for the development contract, basically.
That document was drawn up a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, because what we had indicated in that is the parking, the replat, and all of the building construction for the gymnasium had to be collectively packaged together.
Okay, developer, Dr. Vernon, do you wanna come forward? We'll do one, we'll take action, after some discussion of 1A and 1D, and then we'll vote on those, so the discussion that might be out there as far as the rest of the project would not have an effect on the vote, put it that way. So, this for the council will be, when we close, the public hearing, we'll be voting on A and B. Thank you, it's yours.
Thank you for the opportunity to be here. Excited about this moment right now, that this is right here for us. We got all of the I's dotted and the T's crossed, and looking forward to pursuing, getting the gym underway, and following that. And I was thinking today, I've had this dream for 40 years tomorrow. And it's exciting. And looking forward with great anticipation, because we feel that these facilities will be a great asset to the community. And that's our purpose. So if you have any questions or...
Any questions on the replat and the parking plan? That's where we'll be. You can ask the developer or ask Travis if there's any questions.
The parking plan was accepted by the planning commission.
Yeah, so I thought we were doing that separately, but, so I didn't touch much on the parking, but, if you recall, quite some time ago too, we had a waiver on the, material. It came before you for the material type. So we have, with that parking plan, they've came up with, the recommendation from the planning commission was to accept that parking plan. They're using the TrueCore, is that correct?
I think so, yeah.
But, so they did include the drainage study and everything with that, so with being that it's permeable, they don't need, retention area and that type of thing. I know that they met the, parking, or the bicycle requirement, they have their ADA ramp going up, traffic circulation going through there, planning commission was comfortable with that. There's some special striping that goes along with this, type of surfacing, but it is ADA compliant, so they'll be able to have their, handicap stalls. And that is all in the area of the ramp going up to the gymnasium, so, yeah, with everything with the parking plan, there was no, argument. I know one thing that was a waiver request was the landscaping requirements, because leaves and dirt and that type of thing affects the performance of this material, so eliminating the landscaping material in there so it doesn't hurt that for years to come was talked about for the interior landscape. So planning commission was fine with that, because it is, instead of increasing runoff and that type of thing, so.
Any questions? So I would entertain action on 1A, which is the approval of the final plat.
We're in public hearing, so I would guess I would close the public hearing, so
Okay.
there's no objections.
Okay,
1-7,
no call on closing. Oh, anybody else want to speak for the public? That's legally need to ask that.
this specific topic or? the next
Yeah, on
It's
this,
this topic.
on this.
Yeah, just, yeah.
Okay, we have a motion and a second.
Roll call on closing the public hearing.
Preaching?
Yes.
Warford?
Yes.
Sweet?
Yes.
Ideas?
Yes.
Nagel?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, action on 1A, approval of final plat. Any discussion?
Make the motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made and second to approve the final plat, roll call.
Nagel?
Yes.
Preaching?
Yes.
Ideas?
Yes.
Gravel?
Yes.
Sweet?
Yes.
Warford?
Yes.
Okay, 1B, approval of the parking plan.
I'll make the motion to approve the parking plan.
I'll second.
Okay. Questions? Roll call.
Nagel?
Yes.
Ideas?
Yes.
Warford?
Yes.
Preaching?
Yes.
Gravel?
Yes.
Sweet?
Yes.
Okay, 1C is review of Destiny Campus Project Gymnasium and City Hall, or it's the East Hall renovations. I know there's been some questions about, well, when the approval was given for East Hall, the survey that the city had done for the entire campus, which included the South Hall, that was considered to be very sturdy, very well built, actually built ahead of its time. And so there was no question on that. And so approval was given then to proceed with the new roof and windows for that. The question has been the gymnasium. That same report in 2012 from Davis Design out of Lincoln indicated that it would be unsafe building. And we're waiting, I believe, for a signature from a certified engineer to look at it, see what it needs to be done to make it a safe building before we would issue a building permit for the project. I think that's accurate, is that right?
I thought we had, I do believe we have a report from Lang.
Yeah, we do. So I think there are two pieces to that. One was there was supposed to be a structural analysis of the gymnasium structure. That finding indicated that there were structural deficiencies in the Lang report to the gymnasium. However, that's kind of a moot point because the development agreement said they're going to address it through the building permit for the complete renovation of the gymnasium. So that really, it's kind of part and parcel with the renovation. So of course, when they're renovating the gymnasium, they're going to address the structural deficiencies at that point in time.
Right. With Lang Structural Group, the report that I have here, it says that they did everything in their conclusion basically was that even though there's deficiencies with that, it says his conclusion was therefore, it is my opinion that the structure can and should be repaired in lieu of replacing the building with less quality structure. So he's saying that even though there are some things that need to be addressed, they can do that through the repair of those, and it would be structurally sound for occupancy, basically at the end of the day.
So would it be inspected again after those?
Before I could give occupants or anything, yeah, basically they'd have to sign, the structural engineer would have to sign off on that, saying that everything was taken care of and it was structurally sound.
So that comes with the occupancy.
Yeah, they would be
Yeah.
doing that ongoing repairs, as they're doing stuff. Yeah, with the overall, because there's some beams that, joists that need some bracing, some surface rust that needs to be looked at, see if there's any additional bracing needs to be installed in that thing.
Anything else we need to discuss on that, understand, or?
Well, I think the biggest thing is just the development agreement still provides that complete building permit application for gymnasium is going to be submitted. I don't know if you have those documents at the
Yeah,
city
so-
hall yet or not.
So they did bring in a building permit application for the gymnasium. I did not collect any fees or anything at this point, obviously, because I didn't know where we stood with everything. You know, as far as the, development contract and everything that preceded this, but, you know, we kind of, Joe and I had talked about everything that was kind of submitted. He did have a code review, from the State Farm Marshal's office as well, indicating what needed to be done there. So we have a complete set of renovation plans for the gymnasium, which the State Farm Marshal's office had looked at. We have a code review on that. You know, time lapse or whatever else, I'm sure they might have to follow up on that or whatever, but they have had a chance to review. And then structural analysis of that. And like I said, I think the other things that went along with the development contract have, up to this point now, I think those items have been met, I do believe.
Yeah, I think the only deficiency was the application for the building permit and the commencement of construction, which now they're addressing. So I think not only should we go ahead and permit for that, and approve the building permit application, but I think it's required, because we aren't supposed to approve a replat until the building application has been presented to Travis, so he can approve both simultaneously. So he'll do that, and I think from here on out, absent an issue, it'll be administrative, right? It'll be simply Travis doing what he always does, which is doing the building permit application, doing his site inspections, just making sure the project's moving along pursuant to the time frame of the building permit, and that should be it.
It doesn't require any more action from the council at this point. Is there any other questions on the project?
Where's our time frame at? I mean, if you're ready then to issue a permit soon and then progress starts.
So a building permit is basically good. They have 90 days to start work before it's void. And then basically the permit's good for a year. So they would have to renew that permit if they go past that year timeline or whatnot.
So yeah, a year, it's not done, but a year is still in progress.
Right, we would visit that and renew that building permit, you know, under what percentage or whatever else goes along with that. We'd look at that and review the whole project to see how it's coming along and what's been done.
Is our property owner willing to hazard a guess on the time frame? On what it would take to get the project done?
We're hoping to have that done within a year.
Okay.
And, I mean, that's our goal. We had some setbacks because of trying to line people up and busy and things happen and, you know, getting things and et cetera. That's what we're trying to do. So when we jump, we want to jump full steam.
Nice. Thank you.
Is there, so this, you're saying, Joe, this development agreement would be taken care of at the permitting of this then, basically?
Yeah, the only thing that is still remaining in the development agreement is completion, right? But every other prior contingency, East Hall being made structurally sound, addressing the nuisance issues, the replatting of the property, the gymnasium permit application, all of those things have been adhered to. So I think the only contingency that will be left is completing the gymnasium remodel. And other than that, then that should go its natural course. There shouldn't be anything. Because again, we didn't do anything in the development agreement as to East Hall because it was understood per Jerry's comment, it's structurally sound. It's fine to stay however long the owner wants it to keep in its present condition.
Okay. So, glad to be able to move on.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll go on to our second public hearing regarding approval of a final plat for a subdivision known as Robert's Third Edition, second replat. A replat of Lot 4, Robert's Third Edition, and Lot 2, Robert's Third Edition, first plat, and part of the southwest, south half of the southwest quarter of section 36, township 15, north range 7 east of the 6th PM. So we will open up the public hearing, and Travis, again, can you explain all what we're doing here.
Yeah, this is a little muddy, really, looking at it. I don't know if you recall, that was a little while ago, we had a replat in this exact same area. Lot 1 down at the bottom, and then the lot right above that, nope, down, right there. We had replatted and combined basically the left half with the right half. And so that was first replat. Well, now they came to us with this here. The property owner of the front lot 3 didn't want to buy the property in the back, so now he's combining that with his as well. And then we have lot 2, which is buying the left half and combining with the right half. And then lot 1 is being split off from another larger parcel. I kind of wanted to have it brought back and have the whole thing replatted as a whole, just to have it clean. They didn't like my comments on that very well, so here we are with this. Basically, at the planning commission, they did recommend approval, but at the time we did not have the street dedication for the end of the cul-de-sac down there, because there is a potential buyer for the larger piece there that wants to build a house. So we are getting that cul-de-sac with the 60-foot radius and everything to meet that. And then the other thing that they was concerned about was actually the lot numbering, so that we don't have confusion and stuff like that. Some of those, I was going to talk to the registry of deeds to see how we could label that better, so we don't have lot 3 and lot 3 and
Lot 1 and
lot 1 and lot 1, and it just kind of gets confusing in that area. Even though there are different parts of subdivisions, it's just really kind of messy. So we'll see what ends up with that. But the recommendation was to go ahead with approval contingent upon that street dedication. And I think Melissa had several conversations with the buyer.
Yeah, if you can, there's 3 sets of property owners, the Olms, Bitchkes, and the Roberts. And so all 3 of them would have to sign off on that for this dedication, because right here is the property line. This little piece is owned by the Olms, I believe, and then the other 2 parties. So, I think in my conversations, there was some questioning of why we need to have a cul-de-sac there and why you couldn't just extend the street and make this approach here and then a drive here as well. But I think this needs to be completed. That's in line with our subdivision regulations, so.
So you don't have to turn around in somebody's driveway.
So will you be able to continue north into the field through that circle or not?
Not on public right of way. I mean, you'd be entering private property.
Well, I mean, if the property owner wanted to go north, which would be Holmes.
So, yeah, this property is Roberts.
Oh, Roberts.
This property over here is Olms.
Okay.
And we did have some of those conversations.
Okay.
But this is what was presented.
So it's a hard surface, was it concrete? Or?
Yeah, it would have to be.
That would have to meet all of our street standards and
And who pays?
For what?
Who pays for the turnaround?
The developer would have to.
Yeah, the downside to doing this is it triggers our subdivision requirements, which requires conformance with these kind of things, right?
So, yeah, recommendation came through, like I said, with the street dedication and then possible cleanup of the lot numbering was their concern of what needed to be done. I don't have an answer tonight for what's right or wrong with that, but I don't like that either. And that doesn't mean that it has to change because I don't like it, but it is confusing. It seems like to have that much going on.
If there was a cleanup of the numbering, would it have to come back before us?
I don't think so. I mean, Joe would know more probably, but I think you could approve with proper numbering for Register of Deeds being happy with that or whatever.
Because you're approving the plat in terms of the framework, as long as the plat itself doesn't change, you're changing title or that sort of thing, that can be done administratively.
And with this, we're not, one reason they had to connect that one parcel with his, Obviously, we would have had a parcel that didn't have direct access to public right of way, so that would have been an issue. So we don't have those problems here now with this plat. We're getting the streets taken care of and that, so.
And just to clarify, the planning commission was supportive, they approved.
Yes, they recommend approval with the numbering and with the, street right of way being granted or dedicated on there. And I think that met everything that you had talked to, right, Melissa?
Yeah.
With Solicitor.
And Statesville's lot isn't affected anyway, they're not changing anything, setbacks. or-
Yeah, that little lot 3, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that lot's already platted like that, they just did not want to purchase the property behind them. So we're not creating a non-conforming structure, I think, because we're not changing those boundary lines whatsoever. So everything should be conforming with that, as far as lot size, setbacks, everything else goes.
Okay. Continue the public hearing. No questions, comments?
Just couldn't find anything on it.
Okay, any questions from the council in this public hearing with Travis or interested parties?
So that egress to that lot 3, is that something that's permanently there, so that person sells that lot 1 to the south? They can't take away that, because it says 16-foot wide egress,
Oh, that bottom
easement
one?
to access lot 3. That's something that's permanently in place where
That
they can
is-
never get rid of it when they sell that property.
Right, they'd have to, property owners would have to agree to get rid of that, that's an easement that's been filed. with-
And that's why I was just wanting to make sure that if that person sells their house down there, that next
No.
buyer has to still allow them to get through. To get to
Yeah,
the
that
property.
easement's permanently filed and on record.
Do you know if that, I would assume that easement wasn't necessitated by the city.
No, that was a property owner, I think, I'm drawing a blank on
That's
the
because
name.
Elliott's
Elliott's,
presumably,
yes.
bought some other,
Yes, they wanted access back there behind and
Okay, any other questions from the council? Any other questions from the public? Is there a motion to close the public hearing?
Second.
Motion second to close the public hearing, roll call.
Warford,
Yes.
Raffle,
Yes.
Ideas,
Yes.
Krejci,
Yes.
Sweet.
Yes.
Nagel.
Yes.
Okay, 2A, approval of final plat, that's the council's.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to approve. Any other questions? Roll call.
Warford,
Yes.
Ideas,
Yes.
Krejci,
Yes.
Nagel,
Yes.
Raffle,
Yes.
Sweet.
Yes.
Okay, that concludes our public hearings, actions not requiring public hearing, approval of resolution, regarding, 2024-17 regarding surplus property. Down there.
So we have a handful of items, and we've had a lot of success taking those, putting them on Sanderson's auction.
Motion to approve.
Motion made and seconded to approve, the resolution. Any questions? Roll call.
Krejci,
Yes.
Sweet,
Yes.
Warford,
Yes.
Ideas,
Yes.
Raffle,
Yes.
Nagel.
Yes.
Approval of resolution 2024-20 to order the construction of sidewalks within Heritage Heights.
Sweet.
Skip over.
Skip one?
Yeah.
Oh, three, sorry about that. 24-19.
18.
Yeah, whatever it is.
Another surplus.
It's surplus, but it's a big.
Oh, second surplus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the tractor.
Yeah, keep going up.
So they're separate because they have, if an item is valued more than $5,000,
Yeah,
I also have to publish it in a newspaper that it is for sale. I don't have to do that for items under $5,000.
It's your estimate that it's over 5,000.
We did some comparison by, like looking at other auction sites for similar vehicles, and that's how we came up with the estimate specifically
So who gets to make the final, I mean, does the higher bidder go on if you get a bid or whatever, it's gone.
Yeah, if it only came in at
But
$1,000,
it's-
it doesn't change how we would handle, we handle it based on what we estimate the value to be.
Motion approved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to approve. Questions? Roll call.
Creachy,
Yes.
Nagel,
Yes.
Ideas,
Yes.
Rappel,
Yes.
Sweet,
Yes.
Warford.
Yes.
Now number 4.
3.
Three, yeah.
24-19.
This one, right there.
Yeah. Approval of resolution 2419, edits to the master fee plan to renew amusement device registrations and occupation tax.
So, in one of the bills that was passed in this 2024 legislative session, where they were dealing with the cash devices that you have at Deuce's Wild and at all the gas stations, they took away the municipal ability to levy an occupation tax against any amusement device, not just these cash devices.
Pool tables and all that.
Pool tables, everything is.
Like those devices regulated.
Those, like a pool table is not specifically regulated to my knowledge, but the cash devices, under the Department of Revenue, there's a new, I don't know whether it's a department, it's not really a department, but they have a plan for an oversight, and they have, there's like a percentage of the cash that's played that's actually gets submitted to the Department of Revenue, and then it gets distributed to the county, and then if the county, if the device sits outside of city limits, the county gets all of that money. If it sits within city limits, then the city and county split that. So eventually we will be seeing some revenue, but the statute was pretty clear that effective, I think, July 1, 2024, we could no longer, you have occupation tax on those devices.
Yes.
Well, then if we have to remove them, I suppose that.
I'll make a motion to
Also,
Get the
Big brother says we do,
Yeah.
we do it.
Okay. Any more discussion?
But I think the reason, if I remember the legislative record, was because some communities were trying to indirectly create occupation taxes that made these things so expensive that you couldn't have them. in certain
Yeah, I think
places.
that
Yeah.
there's one community that had implemented like something like $1,000 device, and so their budget was impacted fairly significantly because they're along the interstate and there's a lot of them.
How much will this impact us?
Less than $500.
We only implemented these last year,
Well, we've had them.
Well,
Yeah,
some of them, with the games of skill.
Okay, roll call on resolution 24-19.
Warford,
Yes.
Nagel,
Yes.
Sweet,
Yes.
Ideas,
Yes.
Rappel,
Yes.
Creachy.
Yes.
Number 4, approval of resolution 24-20 to order the construction of sidewalks within Heritage Heights subdivision on the 3 remaining lots that have not been completed installation.
Is there one of those that's under construction? Johnson, did they just come?
No, that one's already got a sidewalk, actually.
Oh, okay.
The owner that had bought that, prior to selling, he installed the sidewalk a few years ago.
Okay.
On the Dow Johnson one?
So there's 3 lots, is that right, that have sidewalks that have no sidewalks, but the entire rest of the subdivision has sidewalks. We've had informal conversations with property owners previously, to no result. And so we feel like, it's time, if it is your desire for there to be sidewalks installed there, to kind of maybe lay down an ultimatum, say, have them installed by this date, or the city will come in and install them, because we do have the ability to do that in municipal code and assess it to the property, so just.
A letter was sent to property owners, I believe, correct?
Yeah.
And it's well past the time limit for what was included in the subdivision agreement for sidewalk.
Say that was in their subdivision agreement that it had to be built, so at this point they're.
Well, it's our practice that when a new home is constructed, before their occupancy certificate is issued, there has to be a sidewalk. So these are lots that haven't been built on yet.
Might not be.
It may not be, but when you have a 60-foot gap between a sidewalk that, you know, the entire rest of the subdivision, there's a gap there. That's, I guess in my opinion, I think it's necessary to just wrap it up, finish it up.
Well, to your point, my recollection is the city made Slipkeys put the sidewalk that is on that slot you were referring to, Don Johnson later owned, but I remember that we took that action in Slipkey, and that's why we put the sidewalk in that stretch.
We've had informal conversations, and some property owners have responded, some have not, which is why we're here, asking for the ability to establish a deadline, and if that deadline's not met, then we move forward. If you can go back to the municipal code. It's very.
So are there 2 or 3 lots?
3 lots.
3 lots, okay. There were 4, but 1 is done.
One went ahead and did it.
Okay.
2
I should
of
say
the
it was 4, now it's 3.
2 properties, they're the adjoining property owner that has a house, they bought the lot next to them. So therefore, they're not there. And then the other lot is a contractor that bought the lot, planning on building a spec home. They've owned it for 3-4 years, have not moved forward with that.
So it says the city council may by resolution order the construction of a sidewalk on any lot or piece of ground within the city. Notice of the city council's intention to construct the sidewalk shall be given by the city clerk by publication of the notice one time in a legal newspaper of general circulation. A copy of the notice shall be personally served upon the occupant in possession of such property, or when personal service is not possible, the notice shall be posted upon such premise 10 days prior to the commencement of construction. The notice required in this section shall be prepared by the city attorney in accordance with the provisions of the section. Such service shall include a form of return evidencing personal service or posting as here required. The notice shall notify the owner of the premise of the passage of the resolution ordering him or her to construct or cause to be constructed a sidewalk within 30 days after the date of publication, and further that if he or she fails to construct the sidewalk or cause the same to be done within the time allowed, the city will cause the sidewalk to be constructed, and the cost thereof shall be levied and assessed as to special tax against the premise, provided that the notice shall contain the official estimate of the cost of construction, and no special assessment in excess of the estimate shall be assessed against the property. I know you all can read, but if there's anyone listening online, I also want to give a little bit of benefit there.
You got good eyes, I couldn't see that.
The fact that one of them went ahead, you better move in, force the other 3, for sure.
So at this point in time, we've given the property owners one notice.
We have given them an informal notice, and we've had informal conversations. It's not like this is a surprise that we want sidewalks installed. I think we've been pretty lenient. We understand that when you construct, if you build a sidewalk and then you construct in your house, you're probably gonna end up rebuilding your sidewalk.
Yes.
That's always been a conversation that we've had in our subdivision agreement conversations, but I think we're at a point where.
That's where I'm trying to be sensitive to the one that wants to do a spec house. You know, if they've just gotten balled up somewhere else, because it's Don Johnson, isn't it, that owns that?
No, Aspen Builders actually owns that.
Aspen? Okay.
I think I might have been confused or.
Regardless, it's been 3 years.
3 or 4 years, it's plenty of time to start building this stuff.
And
It was
these
a lot
3
cheaper 4 years ago to build a house.
These 3 property owners and one other received a letter in July of last year saying that if they had not completed it within 30 days, we would be taking further steps as the city to have it done.
Okay, so they've had
So
another
they
year
weren't,
since.
this won't be a surprise.
So what's an acceptable time frame now that we're October?
Can't be saying it.
Well, if we
You gotta get them to spring.
You're gonna have to have
We
time
would
to line
send-
up a contractor, and then you gotta worry about whether or not it can set, so if you get it done before the winter, I don't know if that's a thing.
Probably time to get it done before the snow flies.
We need to send them a letter that action was taken, that would give them a choice if they're going to finish it themselves, or, so we don't go in and start tearing it up and say, well, we were gonna contract with
Well, that's why we put a date on it, and we had to go out and Joe would go look at it after that date, if it's not done, then another 10 days after that, they put notice on the property.
So you're good to something further out than 30 days.
You guys will find contractors that are short
Right.
for a little
I
bit.
agree with that, especially.
That's what I'm saying.
It's a quick turnaround.
They're on a tight spot.
Yeah. I mean, it's important to get it done, but I don't think it's bad.
sidewalk next year either.
Let's get
I
it.
just don't wanna come to a
And there
60
may
foot
not be
sidewalk.
too many people wanting to walk across those lots in the winter, so we can probably,
Well,
you know, if
I
you said
still think
mid-year.
there needs to be a time that says it's gonna be
Yes.
this day.
Yeah,
every day.
yeah, for sure.
Agreed. And if they don't do anything by that certain time, then
Yes, then we do.
Then Joe would do it, and we'd send him the bill for the.
then we may be cheaper than anybody that can find it. You never know.
I don't know,
Probably
I
not, I
don't,
hope
No.
not.
no, I think that we would hire a contractor to do that.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
But to clarify, there is sidewalks, and then there's the gap of these properties, so this would actually.
Yeah, if you look at an aerial, if you look at an aerial image of Heritage Heights, you'll know exactly where these lots are, because there's a ribbon that goes in front of every house except for these lots.
Also, I think it's important, I guess it's the timeframe that I'm concerned with.
Yeah, it should be done, but I can't control contractors.
So I'm just trying to think, if we would send a letter saying the council has taken action, I think we're bound by this to say that they have 30 days. Joe and I don't know, what do you?
I mean, you technically have that catch-all in your regs that allow you to grant a waiver. So arguably, you could claim that you're, without a request, you're now granting a waiver for an additional 30 days, 60 days, whatever you think it's.
So if we send out a letter saying, or we include it in the resolution that you want these completed by, by April 1st, by April 30th?
April 15th.
I'd say April.
April,
Okay.
something reasonable. in there.
Honestly, it's a
Something more.
6-month window, and that takes into consideration with inclement weather.
A lot of weather.
I would be fine with it.
Okay, so they shall be constructed, completed by April 30th. And then that means if they're not done by, let's say, March 1st, we as city will procure and get an estimate, and because it says we have to let them know what that would be. And we would do that and then prepare to, if it's not done after April 30th, then we would come in and build it and assess it to them. And in that assessment process, we would, after it was finished, I mean, it's very clear that the estimate is equal to what we can't assess more than that
Right.
estimate. We would bring that to you then to authorize levying that against. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. I know that they've already been notified in 23, so it seems like there's quite a generous.
They forgot about it.
They've forgotten by now.
Yeah, but I'm still sensitive to the dates. Because if they're trying and they can't get a contractor, or we have a March blizzard, what are we gonna do? So, I mean, if they're,
I don't think they're trying, they've had a year to try.
yeah, if they're tottering with us, I'm gonna listen.
I don't know, but they've had a year to try, they've had a year to try.
Very
since
well
last
done
August.
lately.
So.
I think in the only way that we would, in my opinion, I would be willing to waiver from an April 30th deadline is if there was a permit that had been pulled for the construction of a new home.
There you go.
Yeah.
Have the permit pulled.
I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh, you're.
I agree.
Okay.
I agree.
Travis, do you have any?
In agreement.
What are those motions?
I'll make a motion.
So, yeah, so I think here we want to do within our motion, a approve the resolution and the granting of a waiver with the deadline to be April 30th.
Yes.
I'll make a motion to agree with what Joe said.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, everybody understand what we're doing? I think so. Roll call.
Sweet,
Yes.
Rappel,
Yes.
Nagel,
Yes.
Creachy,
Yes.
Ideas,
Yes.
Warford.
Yes.
Okay, number 5, again, every time I speak about it. Approval of the second reading of ordinance 2463, annexation of property located east of Chestnut and north of the existing corporate city line, approximately 725 feet to the east and north of the property of the Lower Platte North NRD office building.
Is this a simple approval, or is this a?
This is the
This
second.
is the second.
We got one more,
Can't waive it.
third and final,
Isn't the next meeting?
NRD's.
Motion and
I'll second.
Okay, a roll call on the approval of the second reading.
Creachy,
Yes.
Nagel,
Yes.
Rappel,
Yes.
Sweet,
Yes.
Warford,
Yes.
Ideas.
Yes.
Okay, mayor's comments, I have a couple of them. One of them is, I wasn't sure who got these letters. It's, out to all elected officials in the county.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have it on the fridge.
I think,
Okay,
I think we passed it out last.
okay, I didn't know who all got them, so.
Yeah, I got it on there.
So that's one. The other comment I have, Brian Holmes called me last week, and said I have a problem, and I thought, okay. He said I forgot to file for, airport authority. He probably had other things on his mind about flooding water. Anyway, I didn't say that. But, he said, what do I do? Can you appoint me? And I said, not until your term is up. I don't have to, and I shouldn't until the term is up. And I said, get a writing campaign, write in. And so he went up to the county clerk and filed the paperwork for them to recognize his name on ballots. And he spells it out. So we're just asking people, we don't know if anybody else will write in, but we don't want somebody, probably other than him, he's good, you know, too. So yourselves, family members, friends, they ask about that, write in Brian Holmes.
Okay.
So that's all I have. Council members, any comments?
I have a quick comment to your airport comment. That would still leave one empty airport authority spot.
Yeah, I'm still at one.
Even if he is reelected, we are.
There's 2 spots open.
Right. And nobody filed for,
Yeah.
so
Well-
if there's someone else that's interested that also wants to be
Okay, so is
no,
it the
they
second Friday before the election, I think is what it is, to be a certified write-in candidate? Because you can't just write in, you have to go and certify through an affidavit, and I think it's 2 Fridays before is the deadline.
I think he's already done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
they could, yeah. I got clarification, from
I
the
thought airport authority was a appointed position. What did I miss?
elected.
It's between elections, if we have somebody, just
I
like
got you.
Council Rover, somebody steps down, and
So if nobody writes into this, and they're still in a position, you can appoint
then
them
I would
once.
appoint. So if somebody couldn't write their name in and say, well, I'm gonna take care of that.
How often is the airport meeting?
Once a month.
Once a month.
Yeah, just have to be a Saugus County resident?
No, walk was.
They live in the same place.
If there's nothing else, is there a motion to